The next tool I want to show you is this geometry tool. This is a way where you can easily make horizontal lines horizontal and vertical lines perfectly vertical. Especially when you're shooting things like architecture, you might be looking upwards at an upward angle at the building, and when you do that, the perspective can be a little warped and straight lines don't become straight anymore. You can see in this image, it's very subtle, but these pillars, while they are vertical in real life, they are sort of bowed outwards, and we can use this tool to help us. They have some presets down here that you can try, but generally they don't work. So I'm going to use this guided method by choosing the guided method or turning on this guided tool. What you have to do is put in two lines in your image. They can both be vertical, they could both be horizontal. One can be vertical, one can be horizontal. So if I click and drag along this pillar perfectly up and down as possible, nothing happens. If I then click along this bench and let go, Lightroom is going to look at those two lines and say, we're going to adjust it and crop it and warp it so that that first line is perfectly up and down and that bottom line is perfectly flat, horizontal. I can add another one for this pillar over here, trying to make it up and down. And so now it's going to make both of those pillars perfectly up and down. You can add up to 4 lines. Now, if I said, okay, I want to make this line right here horizontal, okay, it's going to start to get really weird. While it makes that line horizontal, it stretches everything else out, and that doesn't look too good. But maybe to add my 4th line to make as many perfectly vertical and horizontal lines as possible, I might just go along one of these brick lines. That didn't really do that well. Maybe one of these ones in the background on this playset. And when I do that, it starts to get a little bit wonky. So I'm just going to leave those first ones. So if you want, you can choose this constrain to crop option. So if you did do one of these weird lines like this, it will actually crop in so you don't see any of that white space in the background. So I'm going to delete that though. All right, so I've gone back and deleted that line and turned off constrain to crop. Already this is actually basically constrained to crop. We don't have any white edges. You can also go in and fine tune this by clicking this drop down. And here you have all your options for distortion, vertical, horizontal, flipping basically. So here we can bend it in or out. We can rotate and stretch vertically, horizontally, doing the same, rotate, changing the aspect a little bit. And so you can play around with all of these to fine tune it. You might want to go in here with this photo, and now let's crop in. Let's go into something like this, how we had it before. And now this photo is a lot more balanced. These lines are a little bit better. And the lines of the pillars are more up and down. Now, I will say if you have people or other objects in your image that get distorted, it can start to look a little bit wonky. This image looks okay because there's no people that give us sort of a perspective of what should look good, what should be warped, what shouldn't be warped. And also more subtle adjustments are generally better. So it's great for architecture, photography, but not really great for things like portraiture. All right, so that's the geometry tool. Before we move on to some of these other advanced features, we're going to show you how you can export and save your photos so you can share them with the world, and that's coming right up next.